तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। In the continuation of verse number 14, where he says, Mama Maya Duratyaya. That's what we are studying right now. Till now, what has happened is, he has established that everything is divine. All along, he has established that there is only divine. There he spoke about Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti, and I am beyond all that. So whatever you see has come out of me, stays with me, and goes back into me. So all that you are seeing is divine. Then comes the biggest question. If everything is divine, what is the source of human sorrow then? What is the source of human problem then? Now he's analyzing the cause diagnosis of what is the source of the problem. If everything is divine, if all are divine, then where come pain and suffering coming from? What is the cause for a human being to go through pain, sorrow, suffering? And he's going through from one extreme of joy to another extreme of sorrow. When do you get extremely joyful? When do you get really elated, extremely joyful? Okay, to understand Maya, we need to understand from this root. When do you get really elated? When does one become really joyous in life?
If I get more than what I want.
If you get more than what you want. You are doing an action wanting something. You are doing an action wanting something. And whenever you get more than what you want, there is joy. If you get the opposite of what you want, that is sorrow, depression. So the entire spectrum of emotions from depression to joy, which has various shades. You get exactly what you want, satisfaction. You get less than what you want, dissatisfaction. Are you able to follow? If you get exactly what you want, satisfaction. If you get less than what you want, it's not that you are in depression, it's not that you are in sorrow, but you say, I am dissatisfied. Dissatisfied means less satisfied. It's not no satisfaction. When do you get dissatisfied or less satisfied? When you get less than what you want. Therefore, what do you understand from all these? The entire spectrum of emotions is entirely dependent on the only factor upon which the entire spectrum of emotions is dependent upon what? Based on this analysis, joy or sorrow is in relation to the results of your action. Correct? Joy or sorrow is entirely related to the result of your action. No point in telling humanity, enjoy doing what you are doing. Find happiness in doing only. You can say all that, but it doesn't work. Why? That is Maya. That's why it's called. That's why it's called. That's why it's called Maya. You know action is limited, correct? You know action has a limitation, but then from where does this, from a limited action, a permanent result that you expect, where does it come from? From a limited action, from where does this expectation of a permanent result comes from? And all human beings are victim of this. What would you call it as? Vedanta gives one word for that. It is Maya. This is what is, from action being limited, common sense says result of the action is also going to be limited. If action is limited, result is also going to be limited. But that's not how the human mind works, correct? If anybody has understood this, they will not be sitting in this classroom, because they don't need this. They don't need this classroom. Okay. They don't need it. Action being limited, but you want unlimited. It is not the case of one human being. It is not the case of a few human beings. It is the case of the entire humanity in the past, the entire humanity in the present, and the future is also going to be in the same way. How can universally human being gets deluded like this? This universal delusion is called Maya. There's a universal delusion, and this universal delusion is called Maya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It's a divine also, he says. It's not only it is Maya, it is divine. This universal delusion. What is this universal delusion? Action being limited, the mind cannot accept, the result also will be limited. Limited means it will be a mixture.
Oh,
Limited means it will be a mixture, mishram. Mixture means there will be an aspect of joy in it and there will be an aspect of sorrow in it. All results have these two. What are the two? There will be an aspect of joy in it and there will be an aspect of sorrow in it. What is Maya? This universal delusion is Maya. This universal ignorance is Maya. What is ignorance? Human being has the choice of action. Go from the basics. Again and again, start from the basics. Human being has the choice of action. Exercising Purushartha, exercising the choice, he performs an action. Exercising the choice, or what is technically called as Purushartha, or you can call it as free will, the human being performs an action. As soon as you start the action, result is inborn in that action. It is not that result is an outcome of the action. In the very doing itself, result is inbuilt. That is why, even though we talk about it as cause and effect at one level, we don't call it as cause and effect at another level. It is the result itself is in the action. Without wanting something, you can never do an action. In the Smriti text, in the sutras, he says, even a mad person will not do an action without knowing what he is going to get out of an action. Even a mad person won't do that, he says. In the Smriti text. The Dharma Shastra Smriti textbooks, he says, even a mad person won't do an action without knowing what he is going to get. Therefore, human beings are constantly performing actions, seeking
Design.
seeking something, seeking something. And that seeking, whatever they are desiring, whatever you want as an outcome of the action is in the very doing itself. Is in the very doing itself. Are you okay till now? It's very clear. Is in the very doing itself. And then what happens? You experience what is known as the result of an action. Then you experience what is known as the result of an action. And what is known as the result of the action? We have seen that already. Result is of 4 types. What are the 4 types? A, B, C, D. Equal to, less than, more than, opposite of, all of them, isn't it? All results will fit under these 4 category. Maybe permutation combination will differ. That's all. But it cannot go away from these 4. You may get less than that. You may get exactly. You may get more or the opposite. Actions up to now, it is sheer observational fact. Till now, what we have said is a fact that you can infer and understand. Observational fact here, I don't mean observation as in pratyaksha. What we mean is inference. You can call it as pratyaksha also. You put your finger in the fire and keep it for a period of time only, it will get burnt. Correct? Do you know that? No? We used to play with the candlelight like that. You remember? In the academy, when we used to use candlelights for the morning study and all that, where there won't be the half the time there won't be a power. So we'll be using the candlelights for the study, and then the candlelight will be in the front, and the pitch darkness. The candlelight is such a wonderful experience. It is in the pitch darkness, that light. And then sometimes what happens in the flame, you play with the flame, correct? And your finger won't get burnt at all. It means what? What is the law? It is not that the finger comes in contact with the fire, it will get burnt. Finger comes in contact with the fire over a period of time, gets burnt. Exactly, less, more, opposite. Which in air, you will not have the finger at all, isn't it? You just keep it like that. You will not have the finger after 10 minutes. You won't have the finger, correct? If you can just flip it and keep taking it out, you won't have any. Just a little bit of one, I don't know, microsecond, nanosecond, 1 second extra. There will be a slight burning sensation, but nothing, you can't even see it. So what is the action? What is the action? Action is keeping your finger in the fire is the action. And the result is dependent upon
The frequency, intensity.
the result is dependent upon the time. So doing plus time equals result. Are you okay till now? Formula. Yeah, formula which you should remember. Doing plus time equals result. Every week I am coming for the classes, sir. Nothing is happening. Because before the class, nothing is done. After the class, nothing is done. Yeah, it is like flame. It is like flame. It is like me playing with the flames. Nothing will happen, isn't it? So for the result to happen, it has to be a period of time. Are you okay till now? Up to this, it is inference. Philosophy starts from here. From now on, philosophy starts. That's the beauty. Elementary kindergarten stuff. This is. That itself takes. We saw 4 chapters. Kindergarten stuff itself took 4 chapters, 130 verses for him to explain. Now starts the philosophy. What is the philosophy? Result which is determined by time, and time by nature keeps changing. Therefore, result also diminishes and changes. Result starts diminishing and changing. How much ever you hear this, how much ever we understand this, mind still goes back to its
Always.
old ways. Why? That is Maya. That is why it's called inexplicable it is. What is the definition of Maya? Maya means that which is anirvachaniya. Inexplicable. Inexplicable means with certainty you cannot say anything about it. That is Maya. Technically it's called anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya means cannot be explained. What is it that cannot be explained? What cannot be explained? Explanation implies a certainty, a understanding. Correct? When you are explaining something, that explanation must have a certainty, and out of that certainty, you understand something. What is Maya? With certainty, you cannot say anything about it. That is Maya. The specific problem you can say with certainty, but the root of the problem, which is ignorance, is inexplicable. That is Maya. Now we are getting into the study of the individual aspect of the Maya. Are you able to follow now? Are you able to see the shift in the thinking? A human being goes through specific problems, and then there is a root problem. What is the specific problem? Specific problem is you are the problem, sir. Yeah, that is a very specific problem. Yeah. You are the problem. Say, no, I am not the problem. The role that I am playing is the problem. Because because to somebody else where I am not playing this role, they are very comfortable. Therefore, problem is not with the person. Problem is with the roles. Are you able to follow? And role means there is no universal role. Role nale, it is specific. Correct? Role itself means it is specific by nature. Therefore, as a person, you can never get upset with anybody. You get upset only in relation to a particular role. You can never get affected by the lady per se. The role of mother-in-law only becomes the problem, because the same person, when the role of mother is played, where is the problem? Now the question is, the person mother or mother-in-law? Ashaji, are you the mother or are you the mother-in-law? When you are playing the role, it changes. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is Maya? You don't see the role, you see the role as the person. Delusion. You see the role as the person, and when you see the role as the person, you get deluded, and this delusion is called Maya. And this Maya is a universal delusion. I'm only trying to explain how Maya is a universal delusion. First thing, in relation to action, we saw how Maya means universal delusion. Now I am saying in relation to emotions, again it is universal delusion. What is a universal delusion? not able to see the role, but see the, you see somebody as a person where there is no person. There is no such person there. A human being is a combination of roles, and emotion means you associating with a particular role. So when you say you have a role, that role is always in relation to a specific few, isn't it? Are you able to follow? Role means that which is specific to somebody. I am not a father in relation to few of my friends, correct? I am a father only in relation to, so the role of fatherhood is related to a few specifics it is. Maybe one, maybe a few. But nevertheless, all roles are relative by nature. Relative by nature. Are you able to follow? So, result of the action which is determined by time is relative by nature. Roles in relation to emotions that you are interacting with people is relative by nature. And what is Maya? That which is relative by nature, you see it as permanent. That which is relative by nature, you see it as permanent. What is it that makes you to see the relative as permanent? Vedanta gives a beautiful word, calling it as Maya. Again, you come to the intellect, knowledge. More and more and more you know, more and more and more you understand that you can never know. First, they thought there are only three things: the sun, the moon, the stars. Because that's what you can see with the naked eye, correct? You see the sun, you see the moon, and you see the stars. And then after a period of time, they saw the sun, the moon, the stars, and planets. Knowledge keeps on. More you discover, much more remains to be discovered. Therefore, you understand at any given point of time, your knowledge is never absolute. From the level of the intellect, you understand at any given point of time, you can never have an absolute knowledge. For all knowledges are relative by nature. And yet, there is this universal delusion. What is this universal delusion? I know. Are you able to follow? Then there is universal. What is universal delusion? The universal delusion of saying I know. And when you understand that what you know is always relative by nature, and yet the entire universe, the entire human beings believe in this relative knowledge as absolute knowledge. Therefore, the arrogance with which they say I know. You understand actions are relative, limited. Emotions, roles are relative, limited. Knowledge is relative, limited. And you see the world outside, you see the five metaphorical changes. When you see the world outside, you see the five metaphorical changes. What are the five metaphorical changes? Birth, growth, disease, decay, death. And yet you see it as all that is relative, you see it as
Absolute.
All that is relative. What are you saying? What are you doing? You don't see it as relative first. You don't see it as it is first. Not only you don't see as it is, you project something else on it. This is called Maya. Not seeing what it is and projecting something else is called
Mind.
Maya. And this word Maya is the cardinal Vedantic two concepts, the law of karma and Maya. Two cardinal principles of Vedanta. And why do we say two cardinal principles of Vedanta? Is because both are the spectrums. One end is law of karma, which tells you that there is a reality, there is an action, there is a consequence to the action, and you have to experience a consequence. So law of karma, as the law of karma is establishing the reality of something, Maya comes and
Breaks.
breaks that. Now you are confused. Now you are going whether it is law of karma or Maya. Are you able to follow the sequence? Venkatachalam, are you able to follow? From law of karma establishes the reality. Maya explains that the reality is a relative reality. That's why we say two cardinal philosophies, two cardinal principles of Vedanta. And if you are not clear on these two, you can never progress in Manana. For you to progress in Manana, you should be very clear on these two. What are the two? One is the law of karma and another is Maya. And in very few places in Bhagavad Gita, he uses the word Maya. And wherever he uses the word Maya, we try to elaborate it as much as we can. Sometimes overshooting the context of the verse also. Doesn't matter. Yeah, sometimes overshooting the context. In this context also, I am slightly overshooting. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Every class is overshooting only. Why only this class? If Krishna were to sit and listen, he will say, Idampa Maya. Yeah. You explaining what all I didn't say, what all I didn't say, what all I didn't mean. You saying this is
Maya.
Is Maya. Yeah, this is Maya. Yeah. So what is Maya now? Maya establishes the relative reality. So Maya doesn't mean illusion. Maya doesn't mean imagination. Maya means that which establishes the reality as a relative. The source of all problems is this Maya. Meaning, not understanding it as Maya is the source of all problems. Maya is not the source of problem. Maya is as it is. It's there. That's all. It's there. That which is there is not a problem. You not understanding what is there is the problem. Therefore, solution is what? Instead of blaming it, understand it. Why you cannot blame it? Because you are part of it. No. Where can it go? You yourself is a part of it. So what is blaming? Are you able to follow till now? So from now, based on this analysis, we have derived. What is the derivation that we have gotten into now? Maya means relative real. That which has a relative reality is called Maya. And this entire world is Maya. This entire world is Maya. When we say the entire world is Maya, where are you?
In the
In the world. What are you part of?
relative.
The world. If everything is relatively real, then who are you? What are you? Relatively real. இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குது அவ்வளவுதான். Isn't it? இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குது அவ்வளவுதான். There was that man who seemed to exist as a father. What happened? Yeah. You go to the funeral place, burn and come back. You know that it is gone for. Where is that existence? Except in your memory, there is no existence. Correct? Except in your memory, there is no existence. Therefore, what is Maya? That which is relatively real, the mind keeps it in itself and believes it to be permanent. That's why it's called Maya. Why it does it? Because it lacks the right knowledge and understanding. And where do you get the right knowledge and understanding? That answer we have. There. Vedanta. Vedanta naka specific. Vedanta Academy. அது கூட கிடையாது. Specific. Arvindans class. அது கூட கிடையாது. What is Maya? That which is relatively real, mind believes it to be permanent. Are you okay till now? Is the elementary level of understanding Maya. Then we come to the next level. If we say it has a relative reality, it means it is dependent on something. So the relative reality is dependent on something. Therefore, understanding Maya alone will give you the conviction of the divine. Because this relative reality is dependent on something, and that something has to be permanent. And that something has to be permanent, and that something has to be kutastha. Kutastha means unchanging. It has to be permanent and it has to be unchanging. What is that permanent, unchanging, upon which all these changes are happening? Krishna says, Nanda, I am that. You're able to connect? I am that. And when he says that, you feel like doing one Sashtang Namaskar to him. That is called Bhakti. That's how these chapters talks about that. So when he says, I am the independent reality, and everything else is
Temporary dependent.
Is dependent on me for their existence. They are temporarily they are dependent on me for their existence. How are they dependent on me for my existence? That question you should not ask now, because we have already seen that Prakriti, Apara Prakriti, Para Prakriti, how everything
Comes out of me.
came out of me, how everything goes back. All that has been already elaborated. Therefore, Maya gives you an intellectual conviction on two factors. Maya, understanding Maya alone gives you an intellectual conviction on two factors. What are the two factors upon which you develop an intellectual conviction when you understand Maya?
Relative reality.
All that you are experiencing, including the experiencer. All that you are experiencing, including the experiencer, is relatively real. Relatively real. And this relative reality cannot exist without a support. The relative reality cannot exist without the support. And this entire concept is explained to clay and pot and rope and snake. The whole Maya is explained only through these two examples, through these two Drishtanta. This this rope and snake and
Claim.
clay and pot. Drishtanta means tools to explain. Drishtanta means a tool to explain. The snake is dependent upon the rope. The snake is dependent upon the rope. Snake cannot exist without
Rope.
the rope. And the rope says
There is no snake.
there's no such thing called snake at all ever. It's not that there was a snake at one point of time and then it became.
The rope.
It's not that I became the snake and then I turned into rope. Therefore, Maya establishes two things. What does it establish? It establishes the relative reality, and also it gives you enough material, enough conviction to probe into what? Into that which is supporting this relative real. That which is supporting it is called Satyam, Sat. Now we come to the technical terms. That which is supporting is called Sat. Sat means self-existent. Sat means self-existent. It exists all by itself. Sat. Asat is the opposite. Asat is the extreme opposite. For Asat, what is the example for Asat? We have seen sky flower, rabbit, horns. Rabbit never had a hand in the past, in the present, in the future, correct? Between Sat and Asat, something is there. That something which is between Sat and Asat. The popular name is Maya, Mithya. The technical name is Tucham. Sorry, Asat. No. Tucham means that which is the sky flower. Asat means you cannot categorize it as. You cannot categorize it as. Neither you cannot categorize it as a hallucination and dismiss it. Correct? You cannot dismiss the world as hallucination. Neither can you call it as. Neither can you give it a permanency. That which cannot be dismissed as hallucination, but also cannot be called as real. What is it called?
Maya.
Maya, Mithya. How they calculate and all, we don't know, but they say. What is the age of our sun? Srikant. SON illa, SUN. இல்லையா SON னா சொல்லுவாரு இல்லையா SUN. What is the age of SUN? Age ன்னு இருந்தாலே there is a, when you say what is the age means, what implies? The moment you say age, two things are implied in that. What are the two things that is implied in that? Birth and death. What is your age in கேட்டாலே two things are implied in that. That's why you should never ask. உங்க வயசு என்னன்னு யாரையும் கேட்கவே கூடாது இல்லையா? What is your birthday எல்லாம் கேட்கலாம். How old are you எல்லாம் கேட்கவே கூடாது. Positivity. How young are you ன்னு கேட்கணும் இல்லையா? Yeah, you should not ask how old are you, because old means people will feel bad. So you should ask how young are you? How young are you, Shankar? How young are you? 15 years back I went to Sashtapdi Purti. So I know how young he is. Yeah, but then you should not ask how old you are. You should ask how young you are. Huh? How young you are. What is this young and old? So the moment you talk about age, two things are implied in that. What are the two things that is implied in that? Birth and death. So our sun also has a birth and our sun also has the death. It says the sun, our sun, it was born 4.5 billion years ago. And it will die in another 6.5 billion years, it will die. Therefore, the age of our sun is approximately 11 billion years. Were you there when it happened? Will you be there to see it actually happen? If anybody says that scientific means, are you able to follow? Ganesh, scientific means I'll accept only if you are there to have seen it, or at least will you be there to see the destruction of it? You can never know you can never be there to see the birth of it, or you can never be there to see the death of it. Why? The birth of it caused your birth. Before it dies, what will happen? Before it dies, you will die. It means that also has a birth, that also has a death. So relativity means the time factor. Relativity means the time factor differs, but nevertheless, everything is relatively real. The moment you understand everything as relatively real, what goes out?
Delusion.
What goes out? Sorrow goes out. You can never be sorrowful after that in life. When all sorrows are gone, you are quiet. And that quietude is very important for Nididhyasana self-realization. With an agitated mind, you can't do Nididhyasana. The mind that is infested with worry and anxiety and all that, you can't do Nididhyasana self-realization. So it means you need a quiet mind. And the quietude comes when you understand everything is relative. Remember the poem we read yesterday? Even this shall pass away. Wealth came, the king said, even this shall pass away. Yeah. What is name? Even this shall pass away. Pain is hard to bear. Pain is hard to bear. Even this shall pass away. Even this shall pass away. It means what? The pain passes away, the pleasure passes away. The fact that it is agamapayinaha anityaha, the fact that it is agamapayinaha and anityaha establishes what? Establishes the permanent factor. And what is that permanent factor? From chapter 7 to chapter 12 is going to say that permanent factor is me. Whenever Krishna says me, you also can say me. You also can say, because you are that. It's not the exclusive copyright of Mr. Krishna to say me. All human beings can say that. Only difference is what when he says he actually knows what he's saying. We feel like laughing when we say that. That's all. That's only the only difference. Maya is overcome by knowledge. Maya, which is the product of ignorance, the solution is knowledge. Are you able to follow? That's why we keep repeatedly saying how knowledge alone is the solution. People may think, why are you so fanatic? knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Why can't we say breathing in and breathing out is the problem? Why can't we say standing on the head is the problem? Is a solution to the problem? Why are you so fanatic to say knowledge, knowledge, knowledge? It's not being fanatic. This is the reality. Are you able to follow? And what knowledge does? Knowledge doesn't create anything. Knowledge reveals it. Understand the difference? Knowledge doesn't create anything. Knowledge always reveals. That is why we say knowledge is equated to light in Vedanta, and extraordinary connection they make with knowledge and light. Why that extraordinary connection is because light doesn't create anything, light only reveals. Correct? There is a dark room. You bring in light. Everything in the room is visible. Did light create all that? Can you say light is the creator?
No.
Light is equated to knowledge. Why light is equated to knowledge? Because light is that which reveals. Light is that which reveals. It's a revealer. What does the knowledge of Vedanta do? The knowledge of Vedanta doesn't create anything new in you. It reveals. What does it reveal? There is a relative reality, and that relative reality is supported by a permanent one. And the relative reality is called, there is a word for that. What is that word? Maya, Mithya. Are you able to follow? The relative word for that is Maya, Mithya. And people have misunderstood Maya, Mithya means illusion. In English, you have to translate it as illusion. But we understand from this part of the world, having some minimum access to this knowledge and everything, language and everything, we understand Maya or Mithya doesn't mean
Illusion.
imagination, illusion. It means there is an existence which is supported by the permanent. You don't see the permanent. Not seeing the permanent, you project something else on it. That's why Maya, which is equivalent to ignorance, is equivalent to two qualities, they say, Avarna and Vikshepa. It conceals and reveals something else. Udo Maya Pati Vaisna class itself looks like Maya for us, sir. Enough. We'll go to the, will be enough of this Maya. We'll go to the next. Don't worry. This is the last point. With this, we will conclude Maya. And Maya will become Maya for us. So, what is this Maya, which is ignorance? One aspect of Maya is that conceals. Another aspect of Maya is it projects something else. The rope is not seen as the rope, and the snake is projected out of it. It's called non-apprehension and misapprehension. It's called non-apprehension and misapprehension. All this non-apprehension and misapprehension, everything is possible only because of one thing. What? Rope. Existence. Sat. And that Sat is permanent, means not bound by time. Permanent means not bound by time. The moment we say if it is not bound by time means it is not bound by time, space, causation. All three are included. Whenever we say time, within brackets you put space and causation. That is why out of seed, tree comes. And the tree produces another seed. Very clear cause and effect. But if you ask what came first, You are asking a question transcending time-space causation. And Vedanta says that question you cannot ask because there is a fallacy in that. There is a fallacy in that question. At what time did time begin? When did the world start? Is like asking at what time did time begin? And you understand that time never had it neither has a beginning nor an end. It means that time is infinite, the space is infinite, the causation is infinite, and how can that which is relatively real have the property of permanency? Infinite. That which is finite by nature, how it can be misunderstood as infinite? Because the supporting factor is infinite. What is it that is supporting it? The supporting factor is infinite. This is where the analysis becomes very helpful to understand. What is analysis? Whatever you call as the properties of the snake, whatever you say as a property of the snake is nothing but the property of the rope. The boy misunderstands the snake. Balkrishna, are you able to follow? The boy misunderstands the snake and you ask him to define the snake. When he is defining the snake, what is he actually defining? He's defining the rope. He's only defining the rope out of this avarna and vikshepa. Because of this maya, he sees it as snake. So, what is this description of the snake? Brown in color. You know what is brown in color? The rope is brown in color. He says, snake is 6 inches thick. You understand the rope is 6 inches thick. He says, coiled. He says, coiled. What do you understand? The coiled 6 inches brown snake. All the qualities of the real is assumed by the all the qualities of the real is superimposed on fill in the blanks. All the all the properties and qualities of the real is superimposed, and that superimposition makes it underline. And the superimposition makes it real, though factually what it is. Though factually what it is, temporary. Though factually what it is, temporary. That is where when you use the rope and snake example, you should never say, because in the rope and snake example, the limitation of the example is the snake is unreal there. The snake is unreal there. But then relative reality. What is, so to bring about the relative reality, what is the example that you should bring in? What are the two cardinal examples?
Rope and snake.
Rope and snake, and another cardinal example. Drishtanta. Clay and pot. The pot has a temporary
Existence.
reality. So pot explains the temporary reality. Snake explains how the properties of the original is transferred to the, sorry, not transferred, I made a mistake, superimposed upon the temporary. So pot explains the temporary, snake explains superimposition. Pot explains the temporary nature, snake explains the superimposition. So now to put it in a very simply, 3 words, what is it? The real is misunderstood with a superimposed. The real is misunderstood as the superimposed, but then you have to see it as real only, because what is it upon? What is it superimposed upon? Upon the reality. All that you need to understand is what? Maya equals. First we said Maya means universal delusion. Munna definition kudthane varum. First I said Maya means universal delusion. And then we said Maya means Mithya. And now we are saying Maya means, based on the last few minutes. If we learn class at Telna, we go mad only, sir. Yeah. As it is, we are coming and sitting in the. What makes you to think that we are interested in all these things? Yeah. Yeah, we are coming and sitting for some solace and something we are getting, and we are coming and sitting. Why are you thinking that we are interested in all these things? But what to do? He's saying that no. Now Maya equals superimposition. So universal delusion, Mithya, superimposition. We analyze the Maya from the kindergarten to the level of superimposition. The proper textbooks of Vedanta starts with superimposition. That's why it is very difficult most of the times. Their starting point is superimposition. What you see is a superimposition upon Brahman. What you see is a superimposition upon Brahman. Yeah. We just don't see anything in that statement. We just don't see anything at all in that statement, because it just goes above, it just goes over the head. We just don't see anything at all in the statement. And yet, Maya is the cardinal two concepts. When I say two concepts means, I'm using the word concept in the sense of a law. Two pillars of Vedantic knowledge: law of karma and Maya. Law of karma and Maya. Law of karma means law of action. But then, how did we start this analysis? We started the analysis with action, because that is very comfortable to start with. That's why I started the analysis with action. Because straight away, if you say the world that you see is a superimposition upon Brahman. The starting point of extraordinary masters, their starting point is superimposition. They start with superimposition and explain the superimposition in two ways: intrinsic and extrinsic. They say it is a superimposition, and that superimposition is expressed in terms of two illusions: the intrinsic illusion and the extrinsic illusion. In order to get to that point, there are some preliminary, there are some preliminary stages. There are some preliminary steps involved in that. And you need to know that. And you need to know that. What is it that you need to know? Start from the action and move how everything is temporary. Though intellectually you understand the temporary as temporary, but when you start interacting with it, as long as you don't interact, temporary is very temporary, correct? The moment you start interacting, what happens? Temporary becomes permanent. The moment it becomes permanent, sorrow comes. Why sorrow? Sorrow because you feel that you are trapped and there is no way out of it. That's what sorrow is, correct? When are you in sorrow? When you will be in sorrow, when you feel that you are trapped in the situation and there is no way out of it. Bhavna, correct? See, she's nodding correct. She's correct. Trapped, sir. No solution at all. Yeah. No solution at all. So what is are you able to follow? Trapped. The moment you understand it as relative, you know that you are not trapped. So knowledge doesn't bring a solution in terms of getting you out of the trap. Knowledge simply tells you that there is no trap. Vijay. Trap Vedanta doesn't say. Vedanta comes and says there is no trap because you feel that you are trapped and there is no way out of this. Then only you get into this depression, worry, anxiety, crying, suffering, etc. Because you know that you are trapped and no way you can get out of it. And then you come and ask for a solution. What to do, sir? Adjust. Yeah. Practice titiksha. Adjust. Okay. Out of 10 times, 3 times it will work. How to understand it? 10 out of 10. How to understand 10 out of 10? Understand it as temporary. Temporary means it is there, but it will not be there forever. Joy comes, you are happy. It is there, but you will not be happy forever. Sorrow comes, it is there, but you will never be sorrowful forever. Success comes, you know that you are successful, but you will never be successful forever. You know, failure comes, there is a failure, and you understand that there is no failure forever. You know a person is loving you today, and you understand the person loving you today need not love you tomorrow. All problems. The first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Why Arjuna got into a depression? Vishada means depression. What Arjuna did that he got into this depression? Mistake he made. Fundamental mistake, which is a universal mistake. What is the fundamental universal mistake? Not seeing the real as real and projecting something else on it. The moment you project something else on it, it becomes very clear. What? There is no more solution. You feel you are trapped. This sense of feeling trapped is called samsara. What is samsara? Full of madness, sir. People say, no, I just caught. I am caught and I'm drowning. No way I'm able to, I'm not able to get out of it at all. And how much ever I try to get out, I'm getting more and more,
4 days.
yeah, drowned. What is samsara? There's no such thing as samsara. What is samsara? Samsara is your misunderstanding of not knowing how to relate to the temporary. Again, I repeat. Nigore Sutra classes. Sutra class means formula classes today. What is samsara? Samsara means not knowing how to relate to the temporary. Samsara is not knowing how to relate to the temporary. What is moksha?
Knowing how to live.
Understanding the temporary as temporary. What is moksha? Understanding the temporary as temporary is moksha. What is samsara?
Not knowing how to relate with.
Not knowing how to relate to the temporary. Why you do not know how to relate to the temporary? Because you are confused. What is the confusion? The temporary is seen as permanent. Since the temporary is seen as permanent, you feel you are chained. You feel you are chained. You feel you are trapped. You feel you are bound. The sense of bondage is called samsara. Are you okay, Shailesh? And then beautifully these masters comes and say, this bondage, this trap is imaginary. Out of ignorance, you feel that you are bound. You feel you are trapped. You feel you are chained. You feel you are suffocated. You feel it. And what makes you to feel it? Feel it, experience it. Sir, feeling like, sir, I'm experiencing it. If you come and live my life, you will know. If you come and live in my house, you will know that it is not temporary lang kedayadu. Yeah, permanent. Where is, because there's no freedom at all, isn't it? Rajaram's freedom is till November 15th only. He's hoping maybe it will extend, but doesn't look like Rajaram. Doesn't look like, no? After how many years of freedom? 50 years of freedom. After 50 years, he's experienced 1 month of freedom. And that freedom is going to last only for another 1 more week, isn't it? What is samsara here? What is the definition of samsara? You feeling you are chained, you feeling you are bound, you feeling that you are caught up and there is no way out. Vedanta comes and says all these notions are imaginary. Why all these notions are imaginary? It is agamapayinaha, it is anityaha. It is agamapayinaha, it is anityaha. Abdinale, what do you understand? You are never trapped by anything. You only play that role and you move out. You play that role and you move out. You play that role and you move out. Effortlessly, joyfully. Why? Because you have understood. What is it that you have understood? It is only temporary. It is only temporary. How can temporary bind you? Can temporary bind you? Temporary cannot bind you. The misunderstanding of temporary to be the permanent binds. The moment you understand the temporary is temporary, you are out of, from drowning, the water is only neck deep. Yeah. Neck deep water is a big relief, no? From the drowning stage, that's how Maya liberates you straight away. How does it liberate you straight away? You just come out of that. Where instead of drowning, now the water is only up to neck deep or chest deep. And now you know you can do something too. And now you know something. Now you know that you can do something and get out of it. Otherwise, you feel you are. The concept of Maya comes and tells you finally what? Samsara is illusory. The bondage is anytime you come and say, I am bound, I am suffering, it is mithya. Why it is mithya? Because you have misunderstood it to be, permanent. How come all human beings do it, sir? யாராவது ஒருத்தர் பண்ணா பரவாயில்ல, isn't it? How does everybody do it? That's why it's called universal. That's why it's called universal delusion. So the Mama Maya Duratyaya. So Maya explains a few things very clearly. What are the few things it explains very clearly? Your suffering has no, your sorrow and suffering, your excitement has no validity. It is unreasonable. It explains that. Correct? Second, the feeling of bondage is removes that. Third, it says it exposes everything as it is, which is the job of the knowledge. What is the job of the knowledge? The job of the knowledge is not to create. The job of the knowledge is to reveal. That is why we say light is equated with knowledge. Example, light reveals what is in the room already. Correct? There is a dark room. You switch on the light. What is there in the room is revealed by the light. The moment you put light, you know how to navigate. Correct? That's why first thing that you do is, முதல்ல light போடுங்க, you say no. Just put the lights. If you want to navigate, what is the thing that you need? Light. If you have to navigate through the day, you need the light. That is why first thing in the morning, switch on the light and so on. If you have to navigate through the day, you need light. Without light, how can you navigate through the day? You need light to navigate through the day. So switch on the light. As soon as you wake up in the morning, first thing, you switch on the light. What does that mean? Study of Vedanta. That's why we say the first thing that you do is to study. For this light helps you to navigate through the day. And when it reveals, how does it reveal? It reveals it thoroughly, completely. Thorough, complete revelation in a 3-dimension. I don't know what all dimensions is. Not practical problem, we can assume it as 3D. When you see the map, you see the map. What is that round thing called? Map is somewhere in the round the globe. So if you want to really see the map, you should keep a globe. You should never put a 2D map. Because if you put a 2D map on a paper, Africa to India is a Africa to India is a straight line, no? You reach from Africa to India. And then when you sit in the flight is not going like that. It is moving very differently. Why are they cheating? That's cheat pandranga, sir. That's why they are cheating. No, you are seeing it wrongly. They fly according to the globe. They don't fly according to your 2D. Are you able to see? They don't fly according to the 2D. They fly according to the space. And the space is the globe, curved. Adu kuda paper globe kuda, it's a wrong image. Why? Because You cannot call it as a full sphere. No, Earth is not a full sphere. It is a sphere, but elongated slightly. Yeah, isn't it? As though somebody,
Elliptical side.
yeah, just like there is a globe. Just slightly globe. So knowledge reveals it exactly as it is. Knowledge doesn't come and create anything new. That's why Vedantic knowledge, we say we don't create anything new. It only reveals. And what does it reveal? It reveals your samsara, your bondage is not real. You feeling trapped is delusion. You feeling trapped is delusion. Why? Because even this shall pass away. If you don't or more beautifully in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 14. Agama payinaha nitya. How can you bind yourself to anything that is agama payinaha anityaha? But then there is an imaginary, but then there is a bondage. Bondage means samsara. So Maya explains so many things it explains. That's why it's such a wonderful principle. One of the extraordinary concepts of Vedanta is Maya, because it talks about the true nature of samsara. It establishes the reality. For if all are relatively real, this relative real must have an adhara, correct? In the relative reality key, there should be an adhishtanam. And that adhishtanam has to be kutastha. The 13th chapter, these words will come. Beautiful. From 13th chapter, he will start using the word adhishtanam, kutastha, all that. Since we go Gita backwards and forwards, we are using. We don't go by sequence. We go backwards and forwards. No. So Maya establishes not only there is no samsara, Maya establishes that your sorrow has no validity. Maya also establishes. What does it establish? It establishes the adhishtanam and kutastha, because anything that is dependent reality is, when we say it is dependently real, what is it is dependent upon? You work backwards, you work backwards, you work backwards. Ultimately, there has to be something which is independent. Swayam prakashate. That's where Yajnavalkya. Swayam Sat. Swayam prakashate. It exists all by itself and it is not dependent on anything else for its existence. So, Mama Maya Duratyaya. It's a divine game going on, Arjuna. It's a divine game. What is a divine game? It looks like you assume that you are Arjuna. You assume that there is a Bhishma. You assume that there is a Drona, and this Arjuna is going to kill that Bhishma, and that Arjuna is going to kill Drona. No. What is all this? What is all this?
Fun.
Maya. Maya. It's a divine game. That's why it's called Leela. Maya also is called Leela. Abdina Maya, the old definition, I don't remember. What which go? Yeah. Maya equals Leela. Leela means play, divine play. It's a divine play. Yeah. A divine play. Krishna Leela, we say, no? Sir, the life itself becomes a sport. Life itself becomes a Leela, a sport. And what do you do? Since you are unaffected, since you are very quiet, since the mind is quite unaffected, whatsoever you do will have an extraordinary quality to it. Whatsoever you do will have an extraordinary flavor, will have an extraordinary quality. Ascharya. Everything becomes Ascharya. Ascharyavat pashyati kasyitenam. So Maya equals Ascharya. Maya equals Ascharya. Wonderment. 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 With this discussion on Maya, we conclude verse number 14. And we continue with verse number 15 onwards in the next session. Are we okay, or do we have anything?
Mala has a clarification.
Mala. Apologies, Mala, first for what happened yesterday. Just
no problem.
the system got crashed. I don't know what happened. Apologies. Solunga.
Sir, I'm able to understand what Maya is from the definitions that you gave me. In a small confusion. We also spoke about Raga Dvesha as the basic hindrance to one not coming out of the sorrow. I mean, that's how I understand as a core thing. And too many things I'm not able to understand. So Raga Dvesha is the main thing that gives us all the bad qualities of arrogance, jealousy, etc., etc. Patru வச்சுக்கலாம் அப்போ அந்த so ராகத்வேஷா is one point, vasana is another point, third is maya. இது மூணுத்தையும் என்னால I'm not able to connect because vasana I'm able to understand as something that I come as a baggage. அப்போ எப்படி மூணுத்தையும் connect
Vasana is the result of your past actions. What is vasana? Vasana is the cumulative effect of your past actions. Adu vasana. Are you able to follow? What is vasana? And this vasana starts manifesting. When the vasana starts manifesting, it has a manifestation as raga and dvesha. So vasana would a grossification the Ragadvesha. In the chronology of action, vasana, thought, desire, action. We have studied the chronology of action. Vasana, thought, desire, and action. Thought இப்போ வருது, கொஞ்ச நேரம் வரமாட்டேன்றது, again it is coming. It means between two manifestations, it has to be existing somewhere, no? That unmanifest part is called vasana. So vasana is nothing but thought, desire, action in an unmanifest form. Whatever is manifest in you in thought, desire, and action, it means it is existing in you in seed form. ஏன்னா seedல இருக்கிறது தான் tree வரும். Correct? Mango seed length neem tree வரவே வராது. Because from mango seed, only mango tree can come. Meaning, whatsoever thought, desire, and action a human being does, it goes back to, these are all manifest part. And where does all this exist? All this is existing in the potential form, and this potential form, the seed form, is called vasana. Are you able to follow? The potential form, the seed form, is called vasana. So vasana and ragadvesha, manifest and unmanifest. Are you okay, Mala, till now? What is Maya here? Maya goes one step deeper. Maya goes one step deeper. What is the deeper point that Maya takes? This raga dvesha, action, consequences of an action, all gives a sense of permanency. Are you able to follow? That's how I started. All gives a sense of permanency. Maya comes and says, it is not permanent, it is relatively real. Are you able to connect, Mala? Action, the consequences, vasanatha, all this gives a sense of reality, permanency. Maya comes and says, it is, you cannot call karma as imaginary, you have to understand it as temporary. For the real solution from sorrow comes from what? Karma experience pani mudichachina freedom andrada. Correct? See, if you have exhausted all your karmas, you should become free, no? Technically, theoretically speaking. Correct? But nobody gets freedom like that. Why? As you are getting freedom from karma, you create. As you are getting freedom from one, you are creating another. Therefore, you are in that eternal loop. How do you get out of that eternal loop? You need a different understanding. What is that understanding that you need to get out of the loop?
Maya.
Maya.
Understanding of Maya.
Understanding of Maya. And what is understanding of Maya? Starts with Agama Payinaha Anityaha. Lenda Aramichu, what all we discussed today. You go through all this again, you will be able to connect it more precisely. Are you able to follow, Mala? I helped you to connect it now. You go through the class again, and I say class means you go through the analysis again, you will be able to connect everything. Is it okay, Ma?
Fine. To an extent, yes. Yeah. I'll think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Anything else? Venkat?
So one more, Mr. Venkatachalam has a question.
Venkatachalam. Yes. Yes, Venkatachalam.
My question, which I have posted, is I want to understand the role of reflected consciousness. Is it God's grace to have a better understanding of the reality correctly, may improve our understanding of the reality? Because there is an Adhishtanam, Brahman, everywhere. Brahman is everywhere. Now, in addition to the Adhishtanam, why do we talk about, as it were, reflected consciousness to support the intellect, presumably to support the intellect? Is that a grace?
We talk about reflected consciousness because we are going from known to the unknown. We are moving from what we see to the reality. When you come down from reality to where we are, it's a wrong sequence. Now what Vedanta does is, it reverses the sequence. What is reversing the sequence means? It cooperates with where we are and lifts us up to the reality. So when it is cooperating with us as to where we are, we have to talk about reflected consciousness, temporary reality, etc. So it is more to cooperate with us and to take us from moving from known to the unknown. As he always says, education always moves, education is based on the principle of known to the unknown. What is known? You as an individual existing is known. When you as an individual is existing to the known, and then there is and then the known has a notion of permanency. That's why there is the fear. That's why there is the shoka. The shoka, the shoka, the fear, the bhaya, All is because of you giving a permanency to it. Then the knowledge starts by saying, you are there, but don't give permanency to it. But where is the notion of permanency coming from? That's where the analysis starts. That's where the universal delusion starts and etc.
Okay.
So, reflected consciousness, as in the individual, as in the jiva, is to help us understand from where we
Known
are to
to unknown.
the reality. So, when you are coming down from reality, if you come down, it's a wrong sequence.
Okay.
It's a wrong sequence. So, you need to go from where we are to that.
Uh, maybe I didn't explain my question correctly.
Yeah.
If I say, since Brahman or consciousness is everywhere, its
Yeah.
consciousness is the base,
Yes.
to have a reflected consciousness,
Yes.
something, is it because the consciousness does not act, whereas a reflected consciousness has an acting element to it?
This is where you are still keeping the same question. You are starting from where? Brahman is everywhere. Only Brahman is there. What is that level? That's not what we see. That's not what we are seeing.
Okay.
That's what they are concluding.
Oh, okay. I understood.
Understood? Correct. Exactly.
I'm
That's
confusing
what they are
between the
concluding.
I'm
Correct.
confusing between the full knowledge
Yes.
and start no knowledge.
Correct. Yes, exactly correct. Then it becomes clear. Very
Thank
good.
Thank you.
Very good, Venkatachalam.
Thank you.
You have some hope.
Thank you. I'm mixing up from
Yes,
Veda
mixing up of
Purva to
levels.
Anta.
Exactly. Mixing up of levels. Correct. Exactly. Anything else?
One more, sir. Bharat Natarajan has a question.
Bharat. He's posted, no?
Yes, I posted this question. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is Maya attributed only to the known? Yes. Maya is only in relation to the known. The known world of thought, word, and deed. So Maya is attributed only to the known because we cannot talk about the non-existing. We cannot talk about the unknown. Correct, Bharat?
Yes, Namaskaram, sir. So the
Yeah.
question is
Yes.
very true.
Yeah.
But you cannot say non-existing because I was just thinking about the reality is existing
Correct.
and it is unknown.
Yes.
So the Maya actually helps us from a known to the unknown, like you rightly said, answering to Mr. Venkatachalam's question.
Yes.
But if the only thing which I was, the permanency comes because we know that object. For example, anything through a anumana is what it is.
Correct.
Whereas we don't, if we don't have that object in mind, there is no way we will get the Maya.
Exactly.
For example, the rope and the snake. Because we know the snake, we are attributing the rope to a snake. Am I right?
Exactly. Correct.
So the question is, it's a very idiotic question, in my opinion. That knowledge of the snake creates the Maya.
Yes.
So
superimposition. Correct.
correct, na? So my question is, does knowledge create Maya? That was, I mean, I kind of coming around the bush.
Yes. Correct. Bharat, that is why we will not use the word knowledge there. We use the word ignorance. For ignorance is also a kind of knowledge in the ulta direction. Ignorance is not knowing. Ignorance is wrong knowing. Correct?
Yes.
In that way, wrong knowing is knowledge, no? So we will not use the word knowledge here. For clarity purposes, we use the word ignorance. And what is ignorance? Are you able to follow? What is the definition of ignorance? Ignorance doesn't mean not knowing. Ignorance means wrong knowing. Supposing if the boy comes and asks, what is that in Katutana, he is not ignorant. Take the rope and snake example.
Hmm.
In the rope and snake example, if the boy comes out crying, asking, what is there? What is there?
Then, yeah,
That is
that's
different from asking, there is a snake, there is a snake, there is a snake. Correct?
correct. Correct.
So what is Maya here? Maya is, we don't use the word knowledge for Maya, we use the word ignorance, and ignorance means wrong knowing. Ignorance doesn't mean a point where you do not know anything about. No, no. Ignorance means wrong knowing.
Correct.
So,
Exactly.
so any question that we ask about the world, we don't start from ignorance. We start from seeing the world and then ask questions. Like the boy seeing the snake and then asking questions about the snake.
Hmm.
Vedanta says, wait. We will address the questions about the snake and all later. First, we will examine the snake. Are you able to follow the different approaches?
Yes.
Science says there is a world and then it will try to answer that. So more they know, much more remains to be known. And the time will come where you can never know everything. Here we say, no, first let us examine one point, they say. What is the first point of examination? The first point of examination is, let us
Examine the reality. Hmm.
let
As
us
is.
examine the world as it is first. Let us examine the world as it is, and then first let us examine the snake as it is, and then we'll worry about the effects of the snake.
Correct. Exactly. Okay.
Are you able to follow, Bharat? So
Yes, sir.
you are very good in saying, is ignorance, does Maya also comes out of knowledge? Wrong knowledge. Maya is nothing but a wrong knowledge. That is why it is so difficult to get over, because it is a conviction. Wrong knowledge is a conviction, isn't it?
Correct. It's an imperfect. That's
Ah,
correct.
yes. Irukkudu, sir. I'm seeing it. No, what is your problem? Are you okay, Bharat?
Sir, one small, can I ask one more, if you don't mind?
Yes, Chalungu. Yes.
Yeah, you talked about the universal delusion. Now,
Yeah. Yes.
Maya is normally attributed to individual thought,
Yes.
and so how does a new universal delusion come about? How do I and you and others see the same thing as is? Do we see it as the same? Because we read earlier that we don't see as the same, right? You see differently, I see differently.
Exactly.
But we still say that is Maya, right? Because
Why? Exactly. Why I call it as universal delusion is because all of us are seeing something but seeing it differently. So collectively, all our seeing becomes wrong. In that sense, it is universal delusion.
correct. Okay. Right. So, okay.
Yeah, correct, isn't it? Are you able to follow?
Yes.
You see it differently, I see it differently, Ganesh will see it differently, Venkatachalam sees it differently, Ranjani sees it differently. In all these, who is seeing it rightly?
None.
None. That's where Maya takes it to a different level. Are you able to follow, Bharat?
Excellent. Thank you.
And the angle it becomes clear. Is it okay, Bharat?
Thank you, Guruji. I'm not able to come on screen. That's why I.
No, don't worry. No, I understand. I know. No issues. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Bharat.
Mr. Venkatachalam has a follow-up question, sir.
Yeah. Venkatachalam, you are not. We are not able to hear you.
You mentioned it. It is
Yeah.
not illusion. It is wrong knowledge.
Yeah, it is wrong knowledge.
It's a major difference between being
Yes.
illusion and wrong knowledge.
Yes, it's a wrong knowledge.
We use wrong synonyms or wrong
Exactly.
words as the language gives.
Exactly.
It's a mile of a difference. It's a
Yes,
big
it's a mile, correct. Yeah, gulf of difference in Solomon.
Sea of difference.
Three of difference, correct. Three of difference. Are you able to follow? Venkatachalam?
Yes, sir.
That is why we use, I use certain Sanskrit terms
Yes.
where you cannot have a wrong, you
Understand.
cannot have a wrong understanding, because some of these English words have this wrong application. It's not the problem of the language, it is because of us, we are applying it in that.
Correct.
That's why in these classes, almost I can be criticized to be for Sanskritizing certain terms. But I use it deliberately because you can never have this misunderstanding. If you use the Sanskrit terms, you can never have this misunderstanding.
Thank you. The
That's right.
same thing applies for knowing.
Yes,
In a conventional way, we talk about knowing an object,
yes,
whereas
correct,
knowing is completely different.
correct.
It took me quite some time to understand, because all along, coming from a language perspective,
Exactly. Correct. Exactly. Very good. Here we are. That is why one of the Vedangas is called the Vedic etymology, Niruktam. Wherever I get a chance, I am introducing that also, so that our vocabulary becomes, we are very familiar with that vocabulary, so that the confusion in thinking doesn't happen.
arise.
I don't try to make it very Sanskritized. At the same time, certain minimum 20-30 words has to be known. Being a technical subject, you need to use the technical terms only.
Yes.
We can't use just words that has different shades of meaning and make it precise.
Yeah.
Very good, Venkatachalam. Good.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No more, sir.
One more. One more is here.
Okay, sir.
One more is here. அது முடிச்சாதான் எனக்கு அடுத்தது breakfast.
Okay.
Next class வச்சுக்கலாம். Time ஆயிடுச்சு.
Oh yeah. She's saying she will bring it up in the next class. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll bring it up in the next class. With this, we conclude for today. And anything about Maya, you please bring it up in the next class. Make an effort to study this for a week, and anything you have, any doubts you have, anything about all this, you bring it up. We will discuss it, for it is so central to understanding it rightly, this concept. Seriya Bhaskar?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we conclude for today.
Okay, sir.